Now, you may be asking yourself, Painelius, aren't you being a tad bit hyperbolic and a bit of a fucking ass for poisoning a well before we even get started with a title like that? And rude of you to interrupt my fucking video before even the second paragraph. But I guess you're right, my statistically non-existent viewer. Hear me out, though. Even as a content creator that has no success taken off the past 5 years, God, I'm that bad. I can say with absolute fucking certainty that what I see in today's audiences on YouTube terrifies me. Now, before we get into this dumpster fire of a video, let me give some background on how I came to this topic. Going a while back, there was this channel called Curie that was run by this 12-year-old blonde girl that turned out to be a, say, 20-year-old married man with an equally younger-looking American Girl doll as a wife. But basically, you can imagine this person as your childhood nightmare about whatever was in your grandparents' closet coming to life and yelling into a microphone about Blue Buff for 10 to 15 minutes. Where do we leave off? Oh, right. You couldn't tell, he was a League of Legends YouTuber that made videos about various adventures in-game. Nothing terribly out of left field in terms of content, but his personality and editing style made him interesting for the most part. Well, fast forward his channel a year or two later, he nearly has 1 million subscribers, but what he starts doing is he starts drifting off into different games like Smash Brothers, Overwatch, and other games. Not a big surprise, people get bored of games, especially when you're forced to make an assload of content for it. I mean, imagine being quote-unquote forced to play Golf It for months on end and having to force in a joke every minute in desperate hope that you won't die to starvation because YouTube no longer believes in giving channels anything other than a soft cone of fuck you.
You would get pretty bored of that game too.
Going back on topic though, Curie started to make new videos about whatever was tickling his fancy. For the most part, they were doing reasonably well for a channel breaking out of their niche. Sure, they had less views in general, but there was something new, and everything was working out nicely. But this is YouTube and nothing works out because PewDiePie made a fucking Hitler joke and now everyone's basically Stalin. But Keyboy's meme is pretty juicy. So Keyboy's channel went on doing its thing with his new videos, but something changed in his audience. After his audience got the idea that League videos would likely not be nearly as common, which was later confirmed by Curie saying that he was quitting League, they started to turn on him. His new style of videos would get massive amounts of dislikes, even though they were still him doing his type of personality and still having his same editing style, maybe a tad bit kicked up a notch due to enthusiasm. But that wasn't the fucking end of it, as his comments, my god, his comments would either be about how Curie was a goddamn monster for not dancing for their fans' amusement, or how there was too many comments about his League era, or rather there was other YouTubers saying their signature catchphrases, because totally not irrelevant. Curie tried to fix this with another League video, but they were having none of that, and the hate seemed to get worse from there. Clearly this took a toll on the living embodiment of a Webkins, as his uploads got more and more spaced out until he stopped entirely. He was still streaming, but it was a different group of people entirely. Months later though, he came out of his closet to announce that he was moving on, and to be honest, I am not surprised that he was to toss this baby out of his way. Well, shit, that went better than expected. But back on topic. It became more of an abusive relationship regardless of his effort. His audience wanted something they didn't want to make, and clearly weren't gonna fucking hear it. Good I say, let the whole fucking thing burn down. At least he made a decent Twitch channel and pre-launched his Barney persona. But this wasn't the only case where a YouTuber's audience became entitled and turned on the creator itself. Now, for those of you who don't know, the whole drama around Angry Joe's show has been well documented and talked about in various places, but let me give my interpretation. He often expressed desires to expand into other fields instead of angry reviews, and he kind of acted on that. He made movie reviews, game impressions, interviews, you name it. See the trend here? Clearly, it wasn't meant to be a wholehearted replacement of a staple series, as he would always be angry about some hot topic game, but eventually his audience got suspicious. Nah, that's probably the wrong word for it, as the reaction came more akin to that of a bath salts-induced rampage. The strange thing is that his videos were initially fine in terms of reception, and for the most part, people saw what he was doing as additional content. It was only after that he was taking a 2-month break that his comments became their absolute notorious cesspool, and his dislikes went off the fucking rails. You would think that he would have did something akin to what Uberdanger or Toby did and touched underage fans, but no, all he did was just take a break. It wasn't fucking pretty. This clearly took a toll on Joe, as a while later, a couple of weeks later, he made a video where he described the whole thing from his perspective. For one, he pointed out that he was still on track for angry reviews, and even in some cases, even increased the amount of angry reviews. He also pointed out that he was also turning up comments for future videos, but he's already done that previously with like 3 or 4 videos prior. He was turning up comments and ratings, as those, for the most part, were just housing an assload of unnecessary negativity. Negativity that wasn't terribly constructive for the most part, mind you. It was mostly just people venting, which, right or wrong, still causes a huge drop of morale and just creates a huge toxic environment. But really, this video came across, the one that Angry Joe did, came off as very heated, and most people saw that as an attack on his fans. Whether that was right or accurate, it still got the clicks, and that narrative spread pretty quickly. However, it seems that comments and dislikes have seemed to even out for the most part, but on his more recent videos, it still seems that the shitstorm is still there, and I was able to comment on a couple of his videos before he yet again turned it off, so unlikely to see anything change anytime soon. Now, I'm starting to see the same thing with a channel called Star 2, a second channel to the popular TF2 Overwatch channel called Star_. This channel was meant to be a laid-back channel where Star could upload whatever he wanted without much effort for fans that wanted more beyond his content and streams. In this situation, which is different than Curie and Angry Joe's, there was a second channel set up entirely for this different laid-back and low-effort content. So completely different expectations. But please, for the love of all things fucking holy, guess what happened next? I'll give you a few seconds. Done? Okay. Well, if you couldn't fucking guess it, his fans became entitled, like the last 2 channels in this series. They started demanding that he suddenly start making his old content again because he was no longer funny and a washed up has-been. Stuff that even I found, as a person who's been on YouTube for a long time, to be really fucking harsh. Another interesting thing about this whole thing on Star 2's secondary channel was that this happened rather suddenly. I mean, one video prior, his comments were jolly as fucking ranchers, and then you go to this video where he did the P-fingers joke, and every one of the comments is talking about how his jokes suck and how he's a terrible content creator all of a sudden. The fuck happened here? Totally doesn't look like delayed outrage from his previous channel that hasn't uploaded in a year. Totally not manufactured at all. So what the fuck happened? Well, Star had a decent idea and said, I don't think this, the channel's laid-back atmosphere, is the case anymore. 1 month passed, and then angry people migrated from my main channel solely to tell me that they are angry. So this has not been the case for a long time now, and the mentality in the video has been slowly hammered away by fans who wish this wasn't hammered away. I do not need to upload videos here. There is no monetary incentive. I do not even get the sense anymore that people appreciate them. Maybe we should stop wasting each other's time. Ooh boy. In a very short amount of time, Star's second channel, where it was made out to be a lesser quality content channel for his fans who wanted more, now had its vibe kinda killed by demanding fans. And while I understand this is not everyone contributing to the dog pile, and it shouldn't be painted with such broad paint strokes, as the content creator, you really don't need your entire consumer base to revolt to really fuck with your morale. And this was kinda worries me. This trend of channels meeting hostile resistance from quote-unquote fans when they want to do something different is something that's not really new, but it kinda is. Channels often try to avoid painting themselves in corners as they eventually change their content, so they don't want to lose large portions of their audience. Now, it seems that not only will interest fade in this different content, but now that fans will no longer be on the content creator's side when they do decide to do it. And this is worrying. Will channels now be forced to do one thing their whole way of life? Will content creators be forced to make the same content regardless of where it goes? This kind of terrifies me as a relevant content creator, because what if I manage to become somewhat successful? Will fans only want the content the way they want it? Could I do low efforts because I feel lazy one day? Could I experiment? It kind of puts channels in a weird position where they no longer have to be worried about painting themselves into a corner, but rather being forced into the corner by fans who believe they're entitled to their content. This is where so many issues can crop up, and we've already seen some of the negatives already. For one, content creators will feel like YouTube and other platforms will be kind of hostile to them. Sure, content creators will be able to upload regardless of what their fans think, but it's really hard to justify spending an assload of time editing, rendering, just so you can have some tard scream at you that your washed up has-been. Really makes me want to change my morning routine to include a fucking cold glass of great Clorox. Secondly, content creators will be forced to make the same content over and over. Not really that hard of a concept to grasp. As hostility increases, channels will often capitulate to their fans' wishes and try to truck on making their same content they have absolutely no passion or desire to. This will likely cause the third thing, and that is content creators will lose some, if not all, of their drive to make videos. This was clearly shown to happen with Curie, and has took a long period of time with making videos. This of course will vary with channels and creators, but it's not hard to say that the likelihood of these things happening again are high. I mean, take a look at the star statement. The last sentence was implying that very idea. Maybe we should stop wasting each other's time. And this should worry you two guys as viewers, because this will ultimately make content creators do the same shit over and over. Sure, some of you will like that ultimately, but I feel like some of you will also need a change of pace sometime. I doubt any of you play the same game for years on end with nothing in between, so why are you expecting content creators to do the exact same fucking thing? If you want lack of creativity and the same generic content to be pushed out, then keep this shit up. Sure, Google may be fisting the living shit out of YouTubers with ad changes, but that doesn't mean you can just start setting channels on fire for the fucking fun of it. So viewers, for the love of fucking God, get rid of that entitled attitude, and YouTubers, you do you, boo-boo. You do you.